Yeah, good morning, guys. Here we are. So you can remember in our last discussion that was on mentality part one. Uh, we gave you a preamble on our understanding of what it means to approach your vision, your goals, or whatever you are pursuing in this life with the right mentality and the importance of it. You know, because they say, and I believe that um, if you are not moving in whatever you are doing, if you are not moving in sync with nature or with the dynamics of nature, um, you are most likely to meet the brick wall. Because this is because like nature contains um, imperceptible secrets and to whatever we whatever there's nothing about life that has not been before. you know we are basically here to rehash what has been over the centuries, even before our forefathers were born. So it's just like physics. There's a saying I heard the other day that physics is true religion. And to some extent, I believe that because there's nothing about physics that is new. The only thing that is new is our discovery of a phenomenon. That's what's new. Not that the phenomenon that was discovered. When you discover something, it doesn't mean that the concept itself is new or it has not been until its discovery. It has been there, but it's just that our human, knowledge has not been exposed to it. It has not been founded. You know, the so that is what I think is applicable in our discussion of mentality, and going about things with the right mentality. These things has been there. That's why people that have figured it out, you know, live a more fulfilling life than us, who are just coming to know about them and who are aspiring um, to inculcate them in our lives and in everything in our pursuits, in our pursuit for purpose and happiness. So you get from nature when you give. They say there are so many things. There are so many sayings about the importance of giving to receive. Yeah, this is a saying that has been subject to a lot of misinterpretations, but that's not what we are here to talk about now. We are here to give meaning to that because, okay, for instance, now when you give, I don't know a single successful man, whether success, be it in terms of career, be it in terms of finance, be it in terms of family, in any way you can imagine success. I've never seen a successful man who did not, or who, in one way or another, did not give up something to receive. You know, for instance, when you are pursuing financial success, you can't pursue financial success without bringing value. There has to be something of value you are offering to society for society to give you back in return. There has to be. When you are pursuing career success, there has to be sacrifice you made to towards self-development. You know, you give up time, you give up energy, you give up comfort most times, to get career success. You push yourself hard to become better at what you do. And you can't become better at what you do when you don't put in effort, when you don't pay your dues. When you are pursuing success in terms of family life, you have to spend time with your family. You have to bond with your children. You have to play with them. You have to teach them. You have to make yourself available to them. Or else, there's what they call deadbeat dad. Deadbeat dads are dads who are not around there for their children in their developmental stages. So, if you want to be successful in terms of your family life, you have to make yourself available to your family. You have to provide for them. You have to give them that moral and psychological and emotional support. And make yourself available no matter what the demands might be. So this is just example of the way I understand, and I believe the law of nature of giving to receive works. Whatever you want, you have to give up something to get them. So if you come to your goals, when it boils down to achieving your goals and pursuing your dreams, and you are not willing to pay your dues, physical health. I know why I give this example so that it's easily relatable to our everyday life. When you want to be very healthy, you attain physical fitness, maybe for athletic purposes or just for living a healthy life. You have to wake up in the morning, take a run. It takes a lot of discipline. You have to go to the gym. You have to eat right. You give up something. In waking up in the morning and going out early in the morning to go and sweat and stretch your body to the limits, you are giving up your comfort. There are so many other people at that time you are doing that. They are comfortably laying on their bed and getting, more sleep. So this is how it is. So when you are coming with the mentality that you understand what you have to give up to pursue things, you've made a step towards coming with the right mentality. Nothing comes for free. And yes, we also spoke about the poison of entitlement and how it can inhibit your potentials. When you always approach things with the mentality that people around you must do something for you, or like they owe you something, yeah. Let's get it clear. Yeah, sometimes people owe you, a favor not reciprocated or something like that. But it is not, you don't expect of people what you expect of yourself all the time. That you easily live up to this honor does not mean that everybody else is expected or must live up to such honor. So, and you have to take people as they are. Don't feel entitled to what you have not earned yourself. And when you move with a lot of entitlement, you don't see opportunities for you to actually earn, whatever it may be you're seeking out. Yeah, remember we talked about entitlement. I don't want to rehash it. We spoke about it at length. So we see examples in the lives of people who we are not so successful in achieving their goals. You see that there is usually the problem of discipline, or the problem of entitlement, or the problem of approaching life with the wrong mentality. You see these are three recurrent factors, both for success and for failure. If you have figured out how these three factors work, you become unstoppable. Like I've told you become unstoppable. Nothing can stop you. You know that you are like a machine. that cannot be stopped. You're like a machine in flesh and bone that is driven towards a purpose, you know. But if you apply them wrongly, if you don't understand discipline, if you don't understand entitlement, if you don't understand the right mentality, then it's a big problem, and things become more difficult than they should, you know. So these things are traceable everywhere around us, you know. It's just not hard to see, you know. It's just not hard to see. We are the sum total of our habits, you know, and that is taking responsibility. Every choice you've made for the past, calculate your age. If you are 30 years, every choice you've made for the past 30 years is the reason you are where you are today. Every choice you've made, if you are 20 years, for the past 20 years, is the reason where you are today. Yeah, we know that disposition sometimes plays a role in where we end up. Maybe like being born into a rich family, being born into a poor family, being born into a family that is not so supportive, you know. Yeah, I admit that is also true, you know. But at some point, you know, and also your family can influence your choices. The kind of family you come from can influence your choices. That is absolutely true too, you know. But what I'm saying is that the fact that your family influenced those choices you made, whether be it the right or the wrong one, is the reason you are here. So that boils down to our discussion about, you know, nature, giving and taking, you know. It's like garbage in, garbage out, you know. So the fact that you made those choices, okay, for example, for me now, I remember I've never wanted to be a lawyer growing up, you know. I've always wanted to be an accountant. And sometimes when I think about that, it confuses me because I've never liked figures. I don't know how I came about wanting to be an accountant or an economist, you know. So at some point, you know, I was encouraged to pivot into legal studies, and voila, I found myself here. So that those choices that I was encouraged, or that I was convinced to take a career pivot, you know, does not mean that I cannot take responsibility for my choice. At the end of the day, I was the one who took JAMB. I was the one who went and wrote post-UABE. I was the one who got admission, and, you know, I was the one who took the last steps towards becoming a lawyer, you know, and I was the one who ended up here, you know. So I know, yeah, certain people played a role in getting me there, you know, but it boils down to me being the sum total of my decisions. Also, habits. What's your habits? Your habits also rub off on your mentality, you know. When you're in the habit of, when you're in the habit of, when you're in the habit of too much complaints, complaining about your situation, brooding, sulking, worrying, you know, it will hold you down from seeing opportunities where others do not see, you know. Just like it will hold you back from thinking out the box, you know. Before you can think out of the box, you have to be out of the box. If you are in the box, you can't think out of it, because you look around you, you either see negativity or positivity. Whichever one you emphasize corrupts your mind or programs your mind, you know. A man can be surrounded by negativity, but he can decide to focus more on the positivity around him. And trust me, there's no scenario in life you are in that there is no positivity. It's just because you've refused to see it. It's not because it's not there. No matter how bad, no matter how terrible, There are positivities, there are positives to see in your life, but due to the fact that you have dwelled more, the negativity has overwhelmed your state of mind. It has prevented you from seeing the positives and exploring and tapping into them. There is always something positive to look at every point. In a challenge, there's always something positive. So it's also that mentality that will help you to see these positives and emphasize on them and hold on to them. Long time ago, I decided that I will pay more attention to when I meet people that are my friends, people that are close to me. I'll pay more attention to their positive sides more than their negative sides. It has a way of changing your outlook towards those people, and it has a way of making you appreciate them for who they are, and also having a very fruitful relationship with them. Because everything, if you decide to dwell on negatives, trust me, nature will feed you with a lot of it. You'll be overwhelmed. And let me tell you, there will never, it's just like excuses. There is never scarcity of excuses for a man who has decided to fail. There will always be excuses. There will always be. There's never scarcity of excuses. And there is never, scarcity of positives or motivation for a man who has decided to succeed, who has programmed his mind to succeed. You look at a cup, you see it half full, while another man looks at the cup and sees it as half empty. It's different in perspective, it's different in mindset, it's different in mentality. So it's whichever one you choose that works for you. And whatever you occupy your mind with, it's what you become. So saturate your mind with positives. Intentionally decide to seek out opportunities, even in the most challenging situations, in situations where the odds seem overwhelming. Try to think out of the box. Try to remove yourself from the box and see what others are not seeing. There's a book I currently read. What's the name of that book? I want to remember. I think it's a Frederick Fawcett book. I don't know if you know the author. I love his books a lot. He writes about true life events. That's why I read him. There is a war. It's about a war going on in one of the African Sahel regions. A man became rich, took advantage of the precarious situation in his country, the civil war in his country, and became a billionaire. But there are so many other men who will be in such countries, Of course, the excuse of the war will perfectly make sense. I'm not saying that sometimes you have to, also is in interpreting my message is very important. I'm not saying that the existence of odds around us or negativity around us cannot affect our potential to success. It can. In fact, it does. It does. But what I'm saying is, even in that, in the presence of such overwhelming odds, you can overcome. And if you program your mind to overcome, you will overcome. But if you let it cloud your mind, if you let it be all you think about, the odds against you, then your mind will take your cue. Your mind will take your cue. Certain kinds of success is not dependent on the kind of situation you find yourself or you come from. It depends on who wanted it more, who fought for it. Despite, the odds and despite the factors militating against you. So I'm not saying that, yes, it affects you. In fact, it can delay the fulfillment of purpose. But if you now let such situations define your perspective, then your ability to overcome is hindered, and you can never, you can't, you know. So I'm not saying we are not living in denial here. I'm not like a pastor that will tell you, you know, that will teach you in practical ways to, you know, get about. I'm not like that, you know. Yes, we fully, in not fully acknowledging these things, we live in denial, you know, and it's not good to live in denial. When you're living in denial of something, you are not taking responsibility and you are not ready for change. So what I'm saying is, despite notwithstanding these odds, you know, these odds are actually there to make us better. They're actually there to test our patience, to test our skill, you know, to test our resilience, to test our consistency, to test our resolve. You know, nothing good comes easy. Nobody said it's going to be easy. You know, so if you are persistent, if you are resilient, if you are consistent, and if you've programmed your mind for a singular purpose, whatever it may be, you know, you are unstoppable. You are unstoppable. There are no kinds of odds. There's no. I've read a lot of success stories, and it has different kinds of shades, as different as our faces are. That's how they are. You know. They are. You see the kind of odds people have overcome. You wonder what your excuse could be. You know. So yes, in acknowledging our limitations is also a mark of coming, is also a sign of coming with the right mentality. And for me, for example, there are certain things I know I don't like, that are not my passion. You know, I can't lie to myself that I can do it. If you start lying to yourself and living in denial, that's another irresponsibility. That's another wrong mentality. That's another indiscipline. You know. So I think I think from my previous discussion on mentality and this now, I think we have a rough idea of what we are trying to achieve here, because our mindset is the foundation of our actions. Everything we do comes from, has been planted and sowed in our mind. Everything we do, everything we think about has been already been, the seed has already been sown in our mind. You cannot think about food if the thought of food has not been sown in your mind by hunger. You cannot think about success if the seed of if the seed of the likelihood of failure, or if you do, if the seed of the hunger for success has not been planted in your mind. You cannot think about water if the seed of taste has not been sown in your mind. So everything we think about is, or we do, our actions are inspired by our thoughts, and our thoughts are inspired by our mindset, and our mindset are inspired by the values we build, the things we build, our convictions, you know, the sum total of our choices in terms of anything we are doing. So when you look at our previous conversation and look at this, I believe that it arms us adequately to, you know, to come correct in terms of what we want to do and what we want to achieve, and doing away with excuses, you know, and looking in the mirror, giving us the ability to look ourselves in the mirror and speak nothing but the truth to ourselves. Yeah, So that's it. This video, my videos these days are getting too long. I don't like it. I want to limit my videos to 15 minutes, but I'm always missing that mark. Okay, so that's the end today, and on our next video we'll talk about something else. There are actually a lot of things to talk about, so look forward to my next video, and we are going to be making it more practical, and I promise to make it more relatable to our everyday life challenges. Thank you.